hands-on science studies in Africa. And one thing with hands-on science, it's something I experienced as a child going to school in Ghana. Always in class you are asked, imagine the protons and neutrons in an atom. Imagine your digestive system. Everything seems to be imaginary. We never had the practical essence of doing things. What Practical Education Network seeks to do is using indigenous materials around us to make the students able to relate the theories they learn in their classrooms and make it relatable to their environment. The students should be able to study convection, conduction, and radiation in school and go home and be able to say that, oh, the pan on the gas stove is hot. This is due to radiation, this is due to this. They should be able to know when I dip a dye in water, it diffuses and this is diffusion, yam this way, osmosis and everything. What Practical Education Network started out was organizing workshops for teachers in Ghana. And so far, since 2014, we have organized workshops for 1,000 plus teachers. But the problems right now, after the workshops were organized, were lack of materials to continue the workshop. Some of the teachers, as Madam mentioned earlier, was that they are set in their ways they were taught. Most of them were taught in this theory-based setting where they didn't have practical. So they themselves lack the technical know-how to organize these practicals. So the problem now was in the dissemination of hands-on science because it was there, but the sustainability of the dissemination of hands-on science. So that's where the collaboration between Practical Education Network and Ashesi Design Lab came in. So what we started first were follow-ups to teachers that took part in the workshops pen organized. So the research objectives were identify a suitable model with which it could be inculcated in the educational curriculum, finding ways to merge it with our already existing curriculum and seeing how it will work effectively, identifying indigenous innovations already made in the teaching of science. Some of the teachers already had ways of promoting these materials already, and we didn't want to bring a whole new distinct. So we want to identify those ones and see how we could collaborate and we could work with them. So we wanted to encourage teachers also to continue with their improvised practical sessions already and see how they can merge with already a new model and make the work more sustainable. So with finding a sustainable way of disseminating this, from literature review, we read about some studies conducted in the UK and Canada about micro-franchising. So micro-franchising, it's a setup where there is an already tested curriculum or setup to see if it's working. So rules and regulations are already set in place for the franchisee. So the franchisee is someone who buys a license from the people to replicate whatever you already had. So with that one, when they already go, they are able to have guidelines and rules to follow and replicate whatever you have started. So what PEN is doing, the teachers, which are the grassroots, are what we want to use as the entrepreneurs. So they will be the franchisees. And the problems they had was procurement of some of the materials. So some materials they are able to gain from their environment, but some they are not able. So we would procure the materials for them, and they will be the franchisees. So we will be the franchisors because we will provide them with the materials. But now the problem then also began that the teacher would have to be using his or her own money in buying these materials. And that would probably be sustainable because it will get to a point where they will have to move on. So we chose 3 cities in Ghana, and this frankly was my first time going out of Accra alone with my colleague. We went to Takoradi and Kumasi and Accra. So when we went there, we talked to some of the teachers and some of the students. And from the focus groups, so after the workshop, the focus groups we held. So with the focus groups, we talked to the teachers, how they run their science programs, the time, do they have any side jobs, what they do. So from there, we were able to gather the types of franchising modules that will best fit the teachers and the students. So with this, the data we got, we synthesized it using card sorting. So with the card sorting, you find things that are common from all areas. So some of them were like lack of resources, finances. So all data with the same things are classified into the same section. So with the card sorting and data we were able to create the journey map. So a journey map, it's a map that shows a person's journey into whatever activity they are doing. So the journey map of a teacher as he or she teaches the science curriculum. So it was first they consult with their head teachers with notes given and their curriculum given from the GES office. Then they prepare their own lesson notes. So from lesson notes, they find ways to give student class exercises, marking and setting up final exam questions. So with the journey map, we try to find how we could incorporate the hands-on science in their already existing map. So from the journey map and everything, we came up with value fulfillment blueprint. A value fulfillment blueprint is from the journey map because you've already indicated ways where you can help. You found their pain points, where there could be innovation. So with the value fulfillment blueprint, you are showing what you are bringing new, the value you are adding to the person's life. So which was the hands-on science as we are adding it to make to balance out the theory sessions they had. So from the results of the workshop, talking to the students, these are the data we collected. 7% said that they wanted after school, they were interested in coming up after school classes, everything. 27% of the teachers showed that they were not interested in any of the modules that we were planning on coming up with. 22% were saying that they like the workshops. They're trying to organize more workshops to educate their other teachers that were not able to come in there. 34% didn't give any response. We were not able to reach, as in Ghana, you organize meetings and some people show up, some people don't show up. So 10% people were also interested in getting materials and selling to other people because they felt like it would be a viable entrepreneurial business. So we came up with, so these are the results in a bar form. So these are the micro-franchising modules we came up. We came up with 3 micro-franchising modules. The first module where practical sessions are integrated into normal class sessions. So with that, is the teacher being the franchisee or the school on its own is a franchisee. So with this way, it works in a way that they could get people from the Practical Education Network to come and set up a workshop for the students. So with that, they have hands-on activities, everything. It could be like a science fair on a Saturday. You could organize, so that depends on the school's in-class activity. Out-of-class module. So the out-of-class module, extra classes is something that is really picking up in our setting. People are really organizing it. And one thing we saw was that teachers showed disparity between the extra class because they wanted students to come to the extra class. They showed disparity there in what they taught in this. But with the micro-franchising, it gives a regularized, it's standardized. We have this thing, so we can check when teachers are over-exploiting. So with this, it gives a more structured this thing to the out-of-class extra classes. So with that, you can have your own extra classes with different students that you are not from your school, different students, and you can organize just solely hands-on practical science activities. And the hub module. We all have experience where kids run out after school, they run into game centers to play games all day and everything. So the hub module seeks to replace like the game center. So it's going to be a science center. After school, you can just go into the science center. There are workshop activities, science activities, everything you've learned in school. You can just go any setup you find that you are interested in, whatever you've learned in class, you just go in there and you are able to replicate whatever to get the practical. So these were the franchising modules we came up with. And we started a pilot program to see which of these modules would be effective. So we started during this vacation classes. So we are trying to collect data to see which one will be more effective and work on improving this thing. So these are some of the data we collect. The students, some of them show interest. Some of them, we came with the hub method because some students from the public schools had to work either before coming to school or after school. So they showed like they couldn't come for the extra classes, but when they had few time to spare, they could visit the hub. Some of them also showed interest in the whole class because they felt like they didn't want their colleagues who wouldn't be able to attend the extra class or in-hub method to lose out. So they felt if it's all in the same class, they will all be there and they will all be able to experience it. The teachers also showed complaints because when it comes to the GS, it's a fixed thing where you are not able to maneuver around because there's this standardized test of everything, so you have to try hard and skim through to be able to fit all the lessons in. Students were more enthusiastic because we were able to see something. Because one thing that was interesting was I showed them the match straight where you light a match and you put it in your mouth, then it burns up. And I was asking when they were like, it's magic. Then I told them, no, you remember when they tell you there's no burning in absence of oxygen? That's what's happening right now. So they are able to understand that when I do this, this is what I did in school, so that's why this is happening. When you puncture a hole, that's an interesting story that happened. One of the schools we visited, the headmistress was complaining that the students were puncturing holes in the polytank. And they were doing that because they didn't have a place to experiment on what they did, which was pressure. Because the depth you puncture the hole in and the flow of this thing. So if they had a way of experimenting, they wouldn't have been destroying the school. And so this research was made possible by our partners who sponsored Open Air Network, UCT, University of Ottawa, Cairo, Egypt. And we are seeking to get more people interested in finding ways of improving STEM, because it seems like we have policies in place to help solve problems, but then we don't think about the sustainability of the policies. Thank you very much.
Yeah, questions, yes.
I don't know. Please, I want you to give pen. What is the meaning?
Practical education.
Okay.
Okay. So what I want to know is, you had a test or there is a problem at hand, and it's like the model that you have, that is an intervention you want to put in to correct something. That is what
I want to find out. So what is the actual problem, and what do you want to use the model for?
The problem worldwide is the fact that as curriculum is theory-based and less practical.
Good.
So we have all these organizations coming down to build labs, everything to see. But then the problem stays in, they build the labs, they provide all materials, but when it's done, then the lab closes down. So one thing we realized was the sustainability. So we've had that. So right now, our problem we are trying to solve is the sustainability of dissemination of hands-on science.
Any other? Oh, that's great. Thank you.